So we are starting today with cocoa beans. Cocoa beans, the seed of Theobroma cacao, a foundation for chocolate, a beloved treat enjoyed worldwide. Cocoa beans is dried and fully fermented seed of Theobroma cacao, from which cocoa solid, cocoa butter are extracted. The major production is in West Africa. And of course, 75% of cocoa export in the world is from West Africa. Nigeria, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon being the leading country in the export of this product. Typical production pattern is for a large main crop to be followed by mid crop. In West Africa, the main crop harvest starts in September, October period, and this extends to January, March, followed by the smaller mid crop, which is of lower quality than the main crop. In Nigeria, you can find cocoa beans in Ondo, Cross River, Oyo, Osun, Ekiti, Ogun, Edo, Kogi, Akwa Ibom Delta, Abia, Kwara, Ebonyi State, Rivers, Taraba, Adamawa, with an annual population production of about 350. Although I heard now it's lower because not so much investment is going into the production, and it looks like it's the trees that are all over planted that many are still harvesting. 98% of cocoa production is exported from Nigeria, and Ondo State is the highest producing state for cocoa beans. Now, specification. This is one of the very important areas in this conversation. Specification. 6 to 8% moisture. Beans count, 100 to 115 beans per 100 gram. Mold, 3 to 5% max. Slaty, 4 to 5% max. E. coli should be negative. Broken beans, 2 to 3% max. Impurity, 2 to 4% max. Some buyer can tolerate a little bit more. Some will even want it less. So a lot depends on the buyer, depending on what they want to use it for. Of course, from cocoa beans, we have chocolate, we have beverages, we have flavoring also for sauce and dessert. Cocoa is rich in antioxidants, thus minerals like magnesium, iron, copper, manganese, and of course, fiber, helping digestion and health of the gut. It has uses in cosmetics with cocoa butter used in lotion, soap, skincare, and the like. Pharmaceuticals. Research explore potential application in wound healing and cough suppressant. Cocoa shell also acts as fertilizer and, of course, soil conditioner. So, numerous uses. So, the buyer can be using it for different things. And the basis for which the reason the buyer is buying determine the kind of quality the buyer will be asking for. Let's look at the potential for cocoa beans. The major buyer of cocoa beans is in Europe. About 50% of cocoa beans exported, majority of which we have from Africa, from Europe. Netherlands leading the way. Malaysia and United States also a major market that is worth considering. So when you are thinking of export, think of these major countries. Okay, let's take them one by one. In Europe, Netherlands, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, and Belgium, Russia. In Asia, Malaysia, Indonesia, Turkey, Singapore, Japan. In North America, United States, Canada, and Mexico, 1.64 billion. European, almost 50%, 4.94 billion of 50% of total world demand. About 25% of total world demand from Malaysia, Indonesia, Turkey, and Singapore. In South America, Brazil is the major buyer. Even in Africa, Tunisia, Algeria, Rwanda, Uganda are buyers and importers of cocoa beans. In Oceania, very little demand with Australia and New Zealand. Who are the competitors? Cote d'Ivoire, about 40% of cocoa exports in the world. Cote d'Ivoire. Then Ghana, Cameroon. Nigeria is 8%. Not a good one. Ecuador. So you notice that majority, of course, of this product is coming from the like of Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Cameroon, and Nigeria. But we still have some coming from Ecuador, even Netherlands, Belgium, Dominican Republic, Malaysia. But Africa is really blessed with the majority coming from Africa. I heard that China is trying to compete in this space. They hired some agronomists from Ghana, who is helping them to achieve that objective. And they're moving very fast. And they've actually exported their trial to Europe. As of last year, of 2022, $1.5 billion demand from Netherlands alone. Germany, 1.18 billion. Malaysia 1.06, US 942 million, Belgium 865, Indonesia, France, Canada, Italy, Singapore. These are the total major markets. So if you are thinking of exporting cocoa, these are the markets you should be targeting. Let's now move on to packaging. The packaging of cocoa beans for export play a crucial role in maintaining their quality and marketability throughout the journey from farm to final consumer. Typically, you use jute bag for cocoa beans, about 66 kg. It depends on the size of jute bag. It's also vary. These natural fiber bags are breathable, allowing for some ventilation and moisture control. Their affordability and usability make them popular choice. In some cases, jute bags have liners, inner liners with polypropylene. This liner provides additional moisture protection and prevent contamination from external sources. So even if water drop on it, it can't get inside. It's important to use high quality, clean, and food grade packaging materials. Like I said, common choice is jute bag with bag, which allow for proper aeration and prevent mold growing. Quality control begin by selecting high quality cocoa beans. Only beans with right size, color, and moisture should be chosen for export. That means sorting is necessary. Thoroughly clean the beans to remove any foreign matter and debris. Sort them based on size, quality to create a uniform batch. Bags and liner must be clean and free of pest contamination and odor to avoid affecting the quality of the cocoa beans. Drying. Ensure the cocoa beans are properly dry to require moisture level, preferably 7% or below. You know, the higher the level of moisture in any agro commodity, the higher the chance of microbial growth and spoilage from the port of loading to destination. Sun drying or artificial drying method can be employed. Maintaining optimum moisture of 6 to 8% is crucial to prevent mold growth, deterioration. Proper ventilation through jute bag or moisture control liner is vital. Very, very vital. Storage. Store packaged cocoa beans in cool, dry place with proper ventilation to prevent the growth of mold and fungi. When you say it's slaty, when we're talking about quality the other time, is the growth of fungi on it. Is the growth of fungi on it. Avoid direct contact with wall or floor. So that means when you are putting it in the store, the bag should not be on the floor. Maybe wood can be put on the ground or carton on the ground before storing it, so that the bag does not have direct contact with the wall. Transportation. During transportation, take precaution to prevent excessive moisture absorption. Shipping containers should be well ventilated to maintain optimal condition. Bag size and weight. Pack cocoa beans in standard size bag, typically weighing 60 to 65 kg, and this transportation facilitates handling and transportation. Like I said, the weight still depends a lot on a number of factors. The weight still depends a lot on a number of factors. And what I mean by that is that if you are exporting, the bag you're using determine what weight will fit inside, because there are different sizes for jute bags. Airtight sealing. Sealing the bag airtight to prevent the entry of moisture and contaminant, and this is crucial for maintaining the quality. Cocoa beans are typically packed in jute bag, of course. The bag are filled with cocoa beans and then sewn. There's a way they sew the mouth of the bag in the warehouse, tied securely to prevent spillage. And for the quantity that fits into a 20-feet container, it depends on various factors, including the weight and the volume of the bag, as well as additional packaging or palletization used. However, here is a general estimation, weight per bag. A standard jute bag or cheddar bag used for cocoa beans typically hold about 60 to 65 kg. That's about 132 to 143 pounds of cocoa beans. The number of bags per ton. To convert to ton to bag, divide the total weight of cocoa beans in ton by the weight per bag in kg. For example, if each bag is 65 kg, 1 ton is 1,000. The number of bags will be 1,000 over 65. That's approximately 15.38 bags. So let's say approximately 15 bags. Now, a standard 20-foot container has internal dimension of 5.9 meters in length, 2.3 meters width, 2.9 meters height. The number of bags that fit a container depends on how efficiently they stack and to maximize the space. Stack and arrange the bag in the container. Assuming efficient stacking and utilization of space, a 20-foot container can typically accommodate about 250 to 300 bags of cocoa beans, considering the weight and volume constraints. It's important to note that this estimate may vary based on factors such as the size of the bags, the weight of the bag, the packing density, and any additional packaging and palletization used. Additionally, exporters should consider weight limit. When you're loading a container, the weight of the container itself is about almost 3 tons, 2.7 tons thereabout. The total weight should not be more than 30 kg. So whatever you are putting in the container cannot be more than 27 tons. Plus the 2.7, 29 tons. In fact, I've had a case when I used to export solid minerals, lead oil is very heavy. So even if you fill half of the container is filled up, the weight is been exhausted. So I've had a case where the good entered the port, and when the weight was more than 30, they have to remove some tons, and we have to get a truck to go into the port and load that product back into the terminal. Is that serious? Just to ensure that the crane is not damaged, because the crane has a maximum weight it can carry. So you can't overload the container. Additionally, exporters should consider weight limit, loading regulation, safety standard when packing cocoa bean for shipment in container. Working with experienced logistics provider can help ensure optimal packing and loading practices of cocoa beans export. We'll go on a short break. When we return, we continue with the discussion on the export of cocoa beans. Let's move on to paperwork. International trade is largely a business of documentation. International trade is largely a business of documentation. Documentation is key. In fact, documentation and logistics, very key. Why this is important is buyers sometimes might be paying for goods before they receive it. And to do that, they will rely on the persuasion created. So documentation is everything in international trade. Documentation determine a lot. What do I mean by this? The fact that documentation is what tells us the quality of the goods. Documentation is what will make a buyer to pay before he sees the good. Documentation is what will make a bank to fund. If a bank is funding, it's going to be based on documentation. What are the mandatory documents for cocoa beans? Mandatory documents in many countries, including Nigeria. Commercial invoice, packing list. If you are shipping by sea, bill of lading. If you are shipping by air, airway bill. If you are shipping by road, roadway bill. Pretty much transport documents. Some countries require certificate of origin for obvious reasons. Some countries give concessions in duty payment to some other countries that they consider or they want to help or they want to support. So the evidence that this product is coming from a particular country is shown through certificate of origin. If you're in Nigeria, you can get the certificate of origin from NASIMA and you can process it online on their website. From NASIMA, and you can process it online from their website. Then phytosanitary certificate. Someone said, how much do you think someone needs before engaging in exportation? It depends. It depends. If you are doing commodity, you definitely need between 15 and 20 million. If you are doing commodity, because most commodity today most commodities are a million plus. Most commodities are a million plus. And you need about between 15 and 20 tons to fill a container on the average. So you need, but if you are doing finished goods, maybe 10 million might be good enough. If you are doing finished goods, 15 million might be good enough. That means value added goods. It all depends on the product, the volume you are shipping also, the volume. If a buyer is asking you for a container load of an item, obviously that will be a lot of cost, particularly if it is agro commodities. Particularly if it is an agro commodity. Phytosanitary certificate, another very important document. Very, very important document. That was, there was a time Nigerian hibiscus, there was a time that Nigerian hibiscus was banned in Mexico, and it was because of the phyto issues. Then export declaration. You can call this the NXP. If you are familiar with NXP from Nigeria, you can call it the NXP, export declaration document. Then inspection document. This depends on different buyers, but most buyers will want you to do inspection by a third party, pre-shipment inspection. Then fumigation certificate, evidence that the container has been fumigated, not the regular fumigation. There is one that Federal Produce will do. And then in some cases, letter of credit and any other permit. Important point, particularly when you are using letter of credit, accuracy and completeness of document is important. Document should be prepared on time and sent out on time before the goods arrive at destination for payment. Some countries have some specific requirements. It's important you seek guidance from professionals, sometimes from the buyer. The buyer will let you know, for me to clear, these are the documents I need. If you're looking at Nigeria, pre-export document, NXP, you do that online. Proforma invoice attached, export certificate attached. For you to gain access to the platform, you need CAC. Then you pay next fee. In some cases, you need certificate of origin. Exchange control document, SGD from customs, CCI from inspection agent. Shipping document, bill of lading invoice and packing. We talked about that already. Then, of course, phytosanitary certificate, fumigation certificate, and third-party inspection certificate. How about purchaser? But in summary, in getting buyer, you can explore social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. You can explore B2B platforms. You can export database company. Database company makes it possible for you to buy. You can buy data of importers, but don't call them. There are protocols to engaging buyer abroad, and those protocols have been detailed in Eureka Pack. We did a recording in this session like this on Eureka last year, so you can always get Eureka Pack. Database company, you can buy importers data. So when people are saying, I need buyer, my issue with get my export is buyer, there are a lot of options available for you to be able to get buyers. International trade fair, you can attend trade fair or get a partner abroad. Get a partner abroad, overseas sales representative, overseas subsidiary company, and overseas branch, depending on which option you prefer. You can get Eureka Pack. It helps you. It shows you how to get prepared to get buy abroad, get online tool to deploy it in getting buy abroad, get list of market with demand for your product, get the list of importers in that market, get the contact of importers in that market, get the export contract from the contact detail of the importer, and of course, get favorable export contract terms. We'll go on a short break.
In the heart of the bustling city, a determined entrepreneur named Lucky dreamed of taking his product to the world in order to earn foreign exchange. However, the daunting world of international trade left him feeling overwhelmed. It was then that he stumbled upon the 3T Impex Export Mentoring Program. Little did he know, this discovery would change his life and business forever. Through the program, David was immersed in a world of invaluable export trade resources and personalized advisory services. He gained insights into global markets and learned to secure lucrative export contracts from eager buyers. With 3T Impex by his side, he navigated the maze of international payments and expertly handled pricing and documentation, emerging with a deep understanding of mitigating payment risks. As he successfully orchestrated the seamless logistics of shipping his goods to distant lands, Lucky's confidence soared. With a triumphant smile, he realized that he had become the master of export trade business. Do you desire to be like Lucky? Then join the next cohort of the 3T Impex Export Mentoring Program today. Then call 080920000424, 080920000424.
All right, pricing. Product cost. It depends on the product. My last check, I think cocoa now is over 2 million. It's interesting. 2 million naira per ton for cocoa. Interesting. Transport depend on the distance. Warehousing, 30 to 50,000 per ton, depend on the location, and that can be for 1 to 4 weeks, depend on the location. Transport to port depend on the carrier, product, and destination. Freight forwarder charge between 150 and 250 per container, depending on negotiation. Shipping line local charges between 30 to 40,000 per container. Freight charge depends on the product, the carrier, and the destination. NXP processing fee is about 8,000 per NXP. Next fee is 0.5% of the FOB. Logistics fee about 30 to 50,000 per metric ton. I call it OWA boys. You know, these are fees you pay on the road. Terminal handling charge about 80 to 120 per container, depending on the size of the container. Marine insurance fee 0.8% of the invoice value. Inspection fee between 100 and 120,000 per container. NAFDAC fee determined by the government agency. Certificate of origin 12,000 to 20,000 per shipment. Fumigation certificate determined by the government, same for fire sanitary, and interest rate, if you are taking a loan, determined by the bank. Now, let's look at the pitfalls. This is the biggest issue that people face. This is the biggest issue for me. One of the reasons why we're having this conversation is this particular section. You know, a lot of time, government will talk about the fact that, oh, Nigerian products are being rejected. Nigerian products are having issues. This is the reason why. Some people are not even aware of the pitfalls of their product, the challenge of their product. Let's take them one by one. One of the major issues with cocoa beans export that can impact on the flavor, the way it smells, is mold contamination. Probably the biggest. Mold growth in cocoa beans can produce off flavor and mycotoxin, and it affects the quality of the cocoa. To mitigate issue of mold contamination, proper drying and fermentation process. Quick transport. You know, sometimes when you see good stay so long on the road under the sun, these are part of things that affect the quality of our product. Quick transport, keeping the good on the road for long, affect the quality of the product. Storage to be well ventilated. So don't use a warehouse that is not well ventilated. On ventilation, well ventilated, dry condition help to prevent mold growth. So the beauty is the issues can be prevented. It's now left for you as an exporter to ensure you implement all these mitigation to prevent mold contamination in your cocoa beans. Fermentation irregularity. Inconsistent and incomplete fermentation can lead to undesirable flavor and affect the color of the cocoa beans. Incomplete or inconsistent fermentation. Inconsistent or incomplete fermentation can lead to undesirable flavor and affect the color of the cocoa beans. Mitigation. Implement standardized fermentation protocol. So that means every detail from the process, the quantity, the duration, everything is standardized so that there will be consistency. You can visit their website. You can visit Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service to get their contact detail and Federal Produce Inspection Service to get their contact detail. Implement standardized fermentation protocol, monitor temperature and time, and promote proper aeration during fermentation. Another issue is contamination with foreign material. Remember, these are commodities. Because they are commodity, they are easily prone to contaminations from the farm, the packing, the drying by sun, and packing again. All these processes actually affect sometimes the purity or the level of contamination that come in. Your job as an exporter is to check what you're buying from the farmers or the local buying agent or the merchant. Presence of foreign matter like stone, fish, dirt can occur during harvesting and processing and even drying. Implement thorough sorting, cleaning during the post-harvest handling process. Insect infestation. Insects, especially during storage, can cause physical damage and introduce off flavor. Implement proper storage practices, including control of temperature, control of humidity, and use insect-resistant packing. So there are bags that are already pre-treated that prevent the actions of insects. Poor bean size and uniformity. Inconsistent bean size can affect roasting and processing, leading to uneven flavor profile. Mitigation: sort beans based on size during processing and educate farmers on proper harvesting and post-harvest handling techniques. Contamination with chemicals. Right there on the farm, even before harvest, pesticides are used. And this chemical used during cultivation can increase the level of residue, the chemical residue in the product. So it's important to educate the farmers on sustainable and organic farming practices, reducing reliance on harmful chemicals, and some chemicals that are even banned completely. Aging cocoa beans. Prolonged storage without proper condition can lead to flavor deterioration. Implement efficient supply chain management, reduce time between harvest and processing, and time of storage. Reduce your inventory carrying cost by ensuring that the good does not stay too long in the warehouse. Quality variation across batches. Inconsistent quality across batches can impact product consistency for chocolate manufacturers. So, quality control measures at each stage, from harvesting to processing to storage, is very important, and continuous training of farmers. Now, other important issues, particularly in Europe, social and ethical issues. Child labor, poor working conditions, unfair wages can impact ethical and social aspects of cocoa production. And some buyers will even tell you you need fair trade certification. They want to be sure you are buying at a good price, and you are paying, because cocoa beans at over 2 million per ton. How much is the farmer getting? They are interested. How much is the farmer getting? And they're also looking at how sustainable, the sustainability in your value chain, in your supply chain. Support and participate in initiatives promoting ethical and sustainable cocoa production and ensure fair trade practices. Addressing these quality issues require collaboration among farmers, processors, stakeholders in cocoa supply chain. Implementation of good agricultural practices, quality control measures, and sustainable farming method is crucial for producing high-quality cocoa beans and ensuring the long-term sustainability of cocoa industry. ESG, environmental and social government, is a big deal right now. In fact, even European farmers are protesting because the ESG is affecting them. It's increasing their cost, making them uncompetitive for people that making their manufacturer to be importing from countries that probably are not practicing some of those ESG principles. Big deal for EU right now. All right, thank you very much, everyone.
In the heart of the bustling city, a determined entrepreneur named Lucky dreamed of taking his product to the world in order to earn foreign exchange. However, the daunting world of international trade left him feeling overwhelmed. It was then that he stumbled upon the 3T Impex Export Mentoring Program. Little did he know, this discovery would change his life and business forever. Through the program, David was immersed in a world of invaluable export trade resources and personalized advisory services. He gained insights into global markets and learned to secure lucrative export contracts from eager buyers. With 3T Impex by his side, he navigated the maze of international payments and expertly handled pricing and documentation, emerging with a deep understanding of mitigating payment risks. As he successfully orchestrated the seamless logistics of shipping his goods to distant lands, Lucky's confidence soared. With a triumphant smile, he realized that he had become the master of export trade business. Do you desire to be like Lucky? Then join the next cohort of the 3T Impex Export Mentoring Program today. Then call 080920000424, 080920000424.